And here we're leaving Godzilla vs. Kong 3D. I haven't seen a 3D movie in a little while. In fact, I was marketing to somebody online that they were surprised they were still having them. So we'll talk about the 3D part of the movie in a little bit. But the actual movie, I mean, what do you want in a Godzilla movie or a Kong movie? Godzilla versus Kong, it's like Freddy versus Jason or something. You want to see fighting with them. In the beginning, it seemed like we weren't going to get that. But I don't know, somewhere in the middle of the movie, it kicks in, and then we get it. But and the trailer makes it look like they're just having an epic battle, which is what you want to see in a monster movie. Honestly, the weakest part of this movie to me was when they went to the human story. They had two human sub-stories. The main arc, a deaf girl that can communicate with Kong. Kong is trying to find wants his home. They got him captive. And there's this hollow earth thing where they want Kong to go to because they think that's where he's going to find his home. And then Godzilla wants to be the king of the monsters, basically. So anytime he senses there's a bigger predator, an apex predator or whatever, he's going to go after and fight. And that's the basic gist of the policy of the story. And from there, it kind of goes from there, and you'd need to watch the movie to see the rest of it. But the other human sub-story, however, seemed largely pointless to me. Did you see the second human story where there was this girl with her dad, and I don't know where that was going. It never really had a point. They could have eliminated that. That second sub-story for the humans was largely pointless. Up until way late in the plot, it was almost like a MacGyver way late in the plot where they kind of tie it into the. It was unnecessary, the second one, for the largely, like 98% unnecessary. We're not there to see two human stories, really. One would have been enough. What do you think of that? Do you agree that there was two human stories and they weren't as interesting as Godzilla and Kong?
The whole movie could have gone away.
She's not a Godzilla versus Kong fan. Was it? Because you were saying you didn't want to see this to begin with. It wasn't your type of movie at all. Was it, in your mind, any better than what you had hoped for, or was it just not even your thing at all?
Not my thing, and it's pretty much what I figured it would be.
So no interest in it from you, basically.
Not really, no.
So is that because, so you're saying because it just wasn't interesting to you at all, or just you're not your type of movie?
Not my type of movie.
So should we go with a no rating for you, since it's not really something you wouldn't really have thought to watch? It's not really fair to critique a movie if you just wouldn't even have watched it. You watched it because I guess you were going along. Okay, so Kara's giving it an NR, which is no rating view, because it's just totally not her thing. Me, however, I loved Godzilla. I loved King Kong growing up, those movies, those monster movies. I wanted to see a fight. I wanted to see these guys throw down. Got that. So in that aspect of it, the movie is 4 stars right there. However, the unnecessary human story, the 3D component, which I mentioned I was going to say, I don't understand why this was in 3D. Did you detect any 3D from this, or very minimal 3D?
It was very minimal.
I mean,
there was a little bit.
It's like when Kong was in that hollow world or whatever it is, a hologram, and there was these asteroids floating. I think that was about the main thing that I ever noticed was any.
Yeah, there wasn't much.
I mean, I don't know why they make 3D movies that aren't 3D for the most part. I mean, a very little tiny bit of 3D and you're going to call it 3D movie? I'm very disappointed with the last few 3D movies we've seen. Because they weren't 3D enough. I want to have 3D components. I want to see stuff sticking out at me. That's what I'm looking for a 3D movie to have the dimensional stuff. Whether you liked Avatar or not, Avatar was a great 3D movie, one of the best I've ever seen, probably the best. Now, was the story in that's open for discussion, but the 3D use of the 3D in it was, to me, revolutionary. And that's, I'm hoping Avatar 2 ends up being like that. Anyway, so for the 3D, don't waste your time with the 3D Kong versus. Sound was great. The effects were great. The monster stuff was great. Unnecessary, so I have to subtract from 4 stars. If you want to see Kong versus Godzilla in 2021, it's totally recommended for that aspect of it. But you have to throw out one of his sub-story of the humans. I don't know what that equates to star-wise. Maybe a half star, maybe a full star. I asked my older son what he thought. He said he thought it was a 3-star movie. He saw it on HBO Max. I think he was missing a little bit seeing it on streaming. This is a movie you have to see, if you're going to see it, on the big screen. With the big monsters and that's my take on it. So if you want monster movie, Godzilla, the last Godzilla movie was, in my mind, terrible. This one, it was good. Wasn't amazing, but it was good. And it was ruined a bit by the unnecessary humans, one of the unnecessary human story. But from a Godzilla type movie, what do you want to see? You want to see crushing buildings. You want to see people running. You want to see Tokyo or Japan. Some sort of Asian country, if you will. I think that's why it's doing well in China, because they just love Godzilla. Japan, China, they love Godzilla and those type movies. And I don't blame them. These are awesome movies, for that type of that big monster thing. So, anyway, I think I'm going to settle in at 3.5 stars. And even though 4s are recommended, I'm still going to tell people that want Godzilla versus Kong to go see it. So it's 3.5 stars with an asterisk for recommended for people who want to see that type. But you got to see it in the theater on the big screen. I don't see how. It's a 3-star movie to me in streaming. This is the kind of movie where streaming just doesn't work very good unless you have a 100-inch TV at home. Maybe you get away with 75-inch TV. I don't think this one works on a 30-inch or 40-inch or 50-inch, maybe even 60-inch TV. Like, you gotta see it big. You gotta go big or go home. Godzilla versus Kong, 3.5 stars with an asterisk, recommended, except for the components that I mentioned, which, how important those are to you, I don't know. You want to see these two battling, they're going fisticuffs. It's good in that regard. That you're gonna get, and that's what I came for. So popcorn galore, theater's 4 stars for me, honestly, just because I wanted to see those two rumble, and that was exciting. But the human story of it, I'm ultimately settling in at 3.5 out of 5 stars. So movie reviews by us. I'm Todd. 3.5 stars. Kara's an NR, no rating. There's your review for Godzilla vs. Kong in theaters now, depending upon when you're seeing it. Enjoy. Thank you for watching.